What is going on, everybody? I just walked out of the theater, got back to my car from watching Black Adam, because as everyone knows, I love watching DC movies, then reviewing them from my car. No controversy ever arises when I do that, especially if I give an 8 out of 10. What will I give Black Adam? I guess that's a question you have to stick around for. And I will get into spoilers, especially the real big spoiler that is kind of the worst kept secret in Hollywood right now. But before I get into spoilers, just let me give you my general spoiler-free thoughts. Black Adam was not a movie that I was particularly excited for. Nowhere in the marketing did it really grab me or catch me and say, hey, this is something I'm really going to love. I think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is fine. I like some of his movies. I don't like some of his movies, but nothing about him particularly drew me into this. Overall, I expected a lot of action sequences and for it to be a little bit light in terms of the meat of the story. And it's pretty much what I expected. I've seen better DC movies. I've absolutely seen worse DC movies. If you like going to a movie to watch a bunch of action, a bunch of shit like that, you're probably going to like it. You really will. I would equate it to a Transformers movie. That's what this felt like to me. From the pacing to the dialogue back and forth between people at like a rapid pace, really leaving no time to absorb anything they're saying, but with a lot of action thrown in there. That's really what this reminds me of. And I do understand why a lot of the reviews have been mixed. Quite frankly, I do understand that, because when it comes story-wise for this, I can definitely see some people just not really hitting with them. And it didn't really hit with me either. But there is definitely a moment at the end of this film that is totally and 100% for the fans, something that fans have been asking for a very long time. So if you're up in the air about it, I say, hey, go check it out, see what you think, or maybe watch a couple other people's reviews and then make your decision from then. With all that being said, let's get into spoilers. And the one spoiler that's at the very end of the movie that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie that most people are going to be talking about, Henry Cavill is back as Superman. I've talked about it before. I've made videos about it. It's not a very well kept secret because they don't want it to be. They want people to know that Henry Cavill is back as Superman. They want people to know that Superman is in this movie because they know a lot of people have been asking for that for a very long time. And he does return in the post-credit scene. It's not much there. It simply says something to the effect of, people haven't been this scared of something for a long time. Black Adam, we need to talk. That's really all it is. Now, there is the John Williams theme for Superman. I think there's going to be a lot of conversation around that. He is back in the traditional blue and red suit, and I know people are going to love that as well. But when it comes to this actual movie, like I said, it was like a Transformers movie to me, where the story is a little bit convoluted and rushed, and dialogue is rushed, and there's really no time to like sit there and breathe with anything that happens, but there is a lot of action, and there absolutely was a lot of action. They set up basically Kahndaq so long ago, what had happened and what led to the creation of Black Adam. And I will say, I was surprised with how much inclusion there was of who you would expect from Shazam in this. And it's weird to me that this movie did not address Shazam in any way, shape, or form. It's really weird. It honestly is. And they did have the wizard Shazam from the Shazam movies appear in this a couple times here and there when they were doing these flashback sequences. When it comes to The Rock, he played not exactly himself, but a little bit more robotic version of himself, like someone who had been asleep for 4,600 years and then woken up here, kind of emotionless, not quite sure how to act around people, fish in the water type of thing, which I think you kind of expected. I think it was fine as the character. I don't know how much he was really asked to do. The surrounding cast of characters, let me get into that. You had Hawkman, played by Aldous Hodge, and I'll be real, I like him as an actor. I really do. I didn't dig him in this role. And of course, when it does come to Hawkman, we gotta mention the proverbial elephant in the room. Yeah, it's a race swap character. Cyclone as well is a race swap character. Cyclone should have been a chick with red hair. And obviously, we know that Hawkman Connor Hall is a white dude. Now, when it does come to Hawkman, if they're doing the reincarnation thing, we've seen in the comic books before, hey, look at all these different reincarnated versions of the different Hawkmen, so I guess you can get away with that way. But again, unnecessary in my opinion, just like all race swaps are. Now, what exact history does this Hawkman have? Like the rest of the DC, we know sometimes he plays an actual alien, sometimes he plays a reincarnated prince. So what exactly is it? They really didn't get into it. I have a feeling it's the reincarnated prince version of this, just the way they describe the nth metal and everything like that. But I don't really know. They didn't dig into that. I didn't dig him early in the movie. It just seemed like they were trying to play him off as this like just super cool elite kind of dude, and I just didn't dig it for Hawkman. For this version of Connor Hall, did not like it. As it went on, as it got more serious, as he got more serious, as the tone got more serious of the movie, I liked it a little bit better. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Now, again, this is spoiler territory. He fucking dies at the end of the film, and I hated that. Now, you can kill off a character like Dr. Fate because, of course, somebody else can put the helmet on. You know, you can have that again in the DCU. But I just think for a character like Dr. Fate, who I thought Pierce Brosnan did a good job with it, a little too jokey maybe at times when he wasn't in the helmet. It's really rough that this is the one shot we see of it. That just sucks to me. It really does. And I wish we could have seen more. Y'all said Cyclone and Atom Smasher. I'm not going to waste too much time on those characters because they're not really too important in the movie itself. But the movie is about a woman and her son. She's a single mom because, you know, of course, the father died. Because in Kahndaq, it's oppressive. They're invaded. There's invaders everywhere. They're taking over. There's military insurgency, things like that. And that is a big part. One of the first lines you get from this kid is, "You're invaders in our home. You take away our freedoms." All of that kind of stuff. And the reason they want The Rock there, he's their champion. He's going to save them from that. And at the end of the day, he definitely does. So once Black Adam is awakened, obviously they got to figure out what to do. Amanda Waller sends Connor Hall, Hawkman, and the Justice Society after Black Adam. Now, the Justice Society is apparently been around for a long time, and it's kind of weird in this world of the DCEU that I guess we haven't heard of that yet, but now we do. It's our first introduction to the Justice Society, which is cool. But they go there to stop Black Adam. They're the ones that fight Black Adam, and the entire city is rooting for Black Adam. He's called Teth Adam at this point. They don't call him Black Adam at the end of the movie, but whatever, you'll figure that out if you actually care about it and actually want to go watch it. And they try to fight him, and they basically get their asses kicked by Black Adam. And then they kind of come to an understanding. They're trying to talk about things, but there is this crown that can unleash an ancient evil power. And of course, that's kind of the MacGuffin of this entire thing. An evil dude is trying to get a hold of it. Eventually he does, as well as this kid that Black Adam's now attached to. And so they have to go try to save him. When they do, the Justice Society and Black Adam team up. They go try to save him, and they think that it works. They think everything will be okay, but the kid gets hurt in the process. Black Adam realizes that he's out of control, that he doesn't deserve these powers. And at that point, it's kind of when he reveals that the original champion wasn't him from 5,000 years ago. It was actually his son who gave up his powers to save his father, who was The Rock. And you see him in this weird CGI, kind of smaller body form. It's kind of weird looking. And he ends up, you know, dying right after that, right after he gives his powers. That's when Black Adam goes fucking crazy 5,000 years ago and almost kills everybody. But he ends up getting imprisoned because he abused the power in that way. But he decides, hey, I need to give this power back. So Shazam has no powers anymore. They take him to, I don't know, like the Arctic Circle or something, to a secret Task Force X location to imprison him. Harcourt from the John Cena, the Peacemaker series, actually comes in and takes him back. So you get a little cameo there for people that did watch the Peacemaker show. And they kind of put him in stasis, and he's just going to have to be there. That's the bottom line. But as it turns out, after he gives his powers up, after everybody thinks the day is won, not so much. It was actually part of the plan all along for the bad guy to kill himself so that he could be born again with the powers of this crown imbued in him, all this kind of stuff. And he reemerges. Sabak is there, and he is ready to take control and be the king and rule Kahndaq. And hell is raining down on the city. The Justice Society comes back, tries to fight him. They can't. And this is where Dr. Fate decides, like, that the future he saw, he didn't want that to play out. So he sacrifices himself to try to solo him and at the same time wake up Black Adam. It works. Dr. Fate dies in the process. And then with the rest of the Justice Society finally matched up, then Black Adam comes back, saves the day, beats the shit out of them. They need to use all their powers combined to do it, and he needs to control his powers. And he does exactly that, and the day is won, and he still says, hey, you got heroes, because a lot of the people on the streets rose up and were inspired by, you know, the kid and the mom and all that stuff. But hey, it's always had heroes, but it needs a protector, and I'm the protector. It's kind of how the way that it's described in it. And then we go to the post-credit scene like we've talked about, and then the movie's over. Now, what I did love about Black Adam was how absolutely fucking brutal he was. There was a lot of action, a lot of violence, and a lot of it included The Rock, obviously. And he just kills everybody, just straight up kills everybody. From the beginning to the end, there's some lessons in there about, oh, don't kill people. You can't kill people, Black Adam. Heroes don't kill people. He's like, no, but I do, because I am not a hero. And there is that, there is that push throughout this whole thing. Are you a hero? Do they need a hero, or do they need a protector? Do they need someone who's going to be brutal like that? And I like that element of it. I liked the discussion of, hey, things aren't black and white. Things aren't like just good, just evil, just pure good, pure evil. It's more complicated than that. What the hell? My thing just turned off because I've been recording here for too long. Let me try this. See if we can do this. There we go. God, fucking everything's going wrong here. But anyway, I liked that idea. And the problem for me was really with the way that the story progressed and how like rapid it was. I don't feel like they ever gave you time to sit there and really contemplate anything that was happening. It was like, hey, we have a lot of action and we have to put dialogue in here. So we're going to put dialogue. We're going to put these story points. We're going to put these plot points. But it was just boom, 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 boom. That's why I describe it as a Transformers movie. And I like the Transformers movie, and I think this movie's fine. But to me, it could have used a little bit of time to breathe. It could have used a little bit of time between these characters for dialogue that actually like was, to me, impactful. Because it all just seemed like, hey, we have to have dialogue in this movie because it's required. We would just do punching and nonstop CGI action if we could. But we can't. We actually do have to have these people talk to each other at some point. Overall, I give Black Adam a 5 out of 10. I think it's a 5 out of 10 movie. I can totally get why people are going to go in there and love it because it's just a lot of action. And if you like that, if you want to go there and see a lot of cool effects and things like that, you're probably going to dig it. If you're somebody that wants to go in there to a superhero story and see action and things like that, but is also demanding a little bit more from it, demanding a little bit more coherence in terms of, hey, give us some characters to develop. Show us these characters, not like a super fucking easy, predictable plot line, right? Because that is kind of what we got in this. And if it doesn't mean you have to like, oh, do everything you can to shock and surprise people. But I really think a little more time should have been spent on thinking about the ways you could have introduced these characters. That's not just, hey, this guy's this, this guy's this, this guy's this. And really give them a little bit more time to breathe. I love the fact that Henry Cavill Superman is back. Has no effect on this movie whatsoever. They tacked it on at the end. From what I understand, they just recently filmed it. I know that if they had given him permission to do it before that, they would have made him a big part of this movie, but that just simply wasn't the case. As with all of these car videos, I just kind of ramble. I don't really think about what I'm going to say. I just say it, exactly what I feel, and right off the tip of my tongue as I walk out the theater. And I only had about 11 people in my theater. So the people that stuck around for the end credit scene, the 9 or 10 people, they loved that Superman came back. I don't know how this movie is going to do in the box office. I've talked about it a lot. I've talked about how I think that that's one of the big reasons they are trying to make sure people know that Superman's in it without technically spoiling it. Because I don't see a whole lot of energy surrounding this movie right now, which is disappointing. Obviously, a lot went into it. They're going to need to make a decent amount of the box office. In terms of the effects, I didn't mention that. I want to do it real quick. Overall, I think the effects look pretty damn good. There's a couple moments that look very questionable, but when you have an entire movie full of so much CGI, you're probably going to expect a couple moments to not look super great. I don't think it stood out as bad at all in this movie. I think most of it was pretty good, at least to me, at least from what I was watching and what I saw. Again, I wish we'd have got more Dr. Fate. Well, would have loved more Pierce Brosnan, Dr. Fate, but alas, that's not the way it was. Overall, It's a very meh movie, in my opinion. I have no real burning desire to go see it again. I am interested in The Rock as Black Adam in the future of DC when it's not a movie specific towards him. I do think he can be really cool then. I just don't, I'm not really a big fan of this movie. So right around a 5, I guess, is where I would put it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.